Sorry about that. Okay, let's get Katie on here. There we
go. Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I forgot something upstairs and I was like, oh no. Blank or stop the live for a second.
Yeah, good. I thought I pushed something wrong, so I'm glad that
No, totally.
This is my first live, so I'm excited to be doing it.
I'm excited that your first live is with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm gonna pull up there it is. Your bio, so that when more people start to come in, I can tell them about you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. I love that you're doing this series. It's great. Yeah.
Oh, it was kind of just a spur of the moment. Hey, I want to reach out and see who's open to chat because I love just educating people about what they can do because I don't have. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Such a good idea.
Okay, so few people coming in.
Cool.
So you're in Denver, right?
Mm-hmm. Where are you?
I'm in New Hampshire.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful there. I love New Hampshire. That's neat.
Yeah. Colorado, and I have been wanting to go forever and just haven't got there. I've been to Arizona, so closer, California.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of New Englanders out here that have kind of moved out here. I think there's a lot of you guys. Yeah. It's neat. I went to college in Maine, so I have a fondness for like Maine, New Hampshire, that area. I love it. I went to Colby College.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. For undergrad. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to my grad school was in Maine, at the University of New England in Portland.
Awesome. Awesome.
I lived for 6 years. So
I love Portland. It's great. Yeah.
That's definitely we've got a special spot in our hearts for Portland, and we like venturing up that way. So wait to do it again.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I think we'll get started.
Cool.
And more people trickle in as we go. So hi everyone, I'm Dr. Ryan Bailey, and today I have Katie with me. I'm going to read just a little bio so that you guys know who she is if you don't know her already. So Katie is a acupuncturist and certified women's health and fertility expert who helps women to improve their fertility, get pregnant faster, and create the family of their dreams. Even if you've been told that you really have low chances of ever conceiving, and you do it and can do it in an evidence-based, holistic, and enjoyable way. Is there feedback? I feel like I hear feedback. Maybe not.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you're cutting out, but I don't know if that's...
Okay. Yeah. If that's an issue, anyone who's watching, let us know, please, because I don't want you to miss anything. Yeah. And Katie is the founder of The Point Acupuncture and Holistic Medicine in Denver, and is the creator of online program. So I'm super excited to have you with us. And for those of you who may not know me, I am a board certified women's health physical therapist in New Hampshire. And I help women from preconception to postpartum, really with the physical aspects of preparing for pregnancy, everything through pregnancy and healing from birth and postpartum. So I really love everything that has to do with that whole entire journey. So today we're going to be talking about how acupuncture can help with the fertility journey. And so I'm going to now pass it over to Katie so she can tell us all about it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I love what you do. Yeah, I think it's so important. So acupuncture is amazing for fertility, and for several reasons. And I'll try to kind of explain it from a more like Western perspective that our Western minds can really easily grasp. But from what I see, there's three main ways that acupuncture really, really helps with fertility. And it is increasing blood flow, circulation to the uterus and ovaries, reducing inflammation, and thereby helping egg quality, and also reducing the effects of stress. And so I want to just dive into a little bit more about each of those. So for blood flow, increasing blood flow and circulation, there's really amazing studies showing this, and they can watch the effects with Doppler ultrasound, which I love because, a lot of studies, people are like, they're subjective. They're like, yeah, I have fewer headaches. But with this blood flow study, they can measure it and visibly see that with a certain set of points over a series of 8 treatments, that they measure something called the Pulsatility Index, which is blood flow impedance. So how well blood flow is going to the uterus and to the ovaries. And they can watch that blood flow is increased after 8 treatments of acupuncture, and that it stays elevated, it stays increased for a little bit after a series of 8 treatments. And so what this does is it thickens the uterine lining. It helps get a really great healthy uterine lining for implantation. And IVF clinics want about 8 millimeters at least, and a trilaminar good healthy uterine lining. So a lot of IVF clinics refer to us to specifically get this protocol done if they can see that someone doesn't have healthy blood flow or a thin uterine lining. So, and with blood flow comes not only a healthy, uterine lining for implantation, but also increased blood flow to the ovaries and to those growing follicles and eggs to make sure that they're getting healthy oxygen, blood flow, and all the good nutrients and healthy hormones that are in our that are circulated through our body via our blood flow, right? So it's a pretty big deal that we can help increase circulation. And yeah, so I love that there's such a good study. It's if people want to look it up, it's called the Stenner-Victorin protocol, and it's a really well designed, repeated study. So I just love that. The other way that we can help is but with relieving stress. And now I think this goes underappreciated because I think we think like, whatever, I get stressed out sometimes and I haven't died, I'm fine, right? And but I think that that what we mean by stress is worth sort of looking into, because when we're in a chronic state of elevated cortisol, which happens not just because of like the emotional stress of life, right? Being stuck in a traffic jam or being worried during the 2-week wait or something like that. But there's other stressors, right? Like not sleeping well, under eating, imbalanced blood sugar, inflammation. There's all these other ways that we are stressing our bodies that we don't even realize, because humans were kind of like cortisol making machines. Our bodies produce that cortisol and we might not even know. We just keep on functioning. And in the backstage, our hormones are taking a big hit. And what happens when cortisol is increased is it really can affect our fertility. It can suppress or delay ovulation. And what happens when our cortisol is increased and our adrenaline is increased is our body thinks we're under stress and we better conserve energy. And it can suppress our thyroid function, right? It suppresses our metabolism basically to say conserve energy. And when our thyroid goes out of whack, our fertility can really get out of whack as well. So I think that it's not just like, oh, it makes you feel less stressed. It's like, no, it's having these real physiological effects that can really affect our fertility. And again, many studies have shown that acupuncture really can regulate cortisol levels and get us into a cool MRI. Studies with MRI looking at brain activity can show that it gets us into the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's one of the reasons that acupuncture can heal so many things, right? Is because the parasympathetic mode is where all the healing happens. And the anti-stress effects of acupuncture are really noticeable. Like people walk out of my office sort of like we call it AccuStoned, like really relaxed. And if you get it regularly, it can really help regulate that cortisol response. And we can't make life less stressful really, but we can change the way our bodies react and handle that stress. So that's another really big way that acupuncture helps with fertility. And it's also, the third way is with inflammation. It's shown in great studies to reduce those inflammatory markers. And inflammation is a really big culprit with egg quality, sperm quality. So we can really help to support egg and sperm quality that way. Inflammation can also be at play with sort of like autoimmune factors that can be involved sometimes with like miscarriage rates, can block implantation. So those are three really huge ways that I'm like, acupuncture is awesome for fertility for those reasons. And then there's other reasons too, more indirect reasons, like we help the gut, and digestion. And that's no small thing either, because there's that saying that we are what we eat, but actually I think we are what we digest. We are what we absorb, right? So we need good digestion to make sure we're getting all those nutrients that we really, really need for healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, healthy eggs, healthy sperm. So we kind of help indirectly that way. And also sleep. Acupuncture it's kind of a side effect of acupuncture, no matter what you come in for. Even if you come in for back pain, you are going to feel less stress, and you're probably going to sleep better, and you're probably going to feel less anxious too. Like it's just sort of a good side effect.
Well, it's part of that pathetic kind of side effect of just helping you just down regulate and calm and be like, oh, okay, now I can actually stop.
Exactly. So, yeah.
And part with the gut health too, I'm sure that it also helps with like the elimination of toxins and things as well, because if you're helping with the process of the absorption of the good stuff, but then the elimination of the bad stuff. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Really important.
Yeah. And one of the big things in Chinese medicine is focusing on the liver and liver health too, and as well as digestion, and so helping the processing of toxins as well, we can really help with too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question about all of those amazing ways that you can impact. So you had said that like there are some studies showing 8 treatments with acupuncture. So do you have to, or does someone have to continue to go through treatments to get long-term benefits, or are there other ways to supplement or like add in?
Right, that's a great question. So it's kind of like each treatment, the effects last longer and longer and longer. And so we want to get you in really regularly in the beginning, and then we tend to kind of spread treatments out, and eventually the idea is that we're optimizing the functioning of your own body. So eventually it should have lasting effects. Now, of course, it depends on how much we're countering, like swimming upstream with like fighting lifestyle factors, right? So some of my patients do like to come in for like monthly or quarterly, just like maintenance. If say like, I don't know, they're coming in for back stuff, and I think pain is always an easy example to wrap your head around. But then they're like working a job that's like constantly hurting their back, right? So like we can just, there can be certain like lifestyle things that make you need to get in more regularly. But generally what we're aiming for is to kind of like address the root cause and fix the root cause if we can, so that you're not like dependent on acupuncture forever, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. If your lifestyle is always putting you back into the unhealthy state, that is going to make it more challenging for a longer lasting result.
Right. Yeah. And it's another great thing about working with acupuncturists or someone like you, a holistic practitioner, is that we talk about lifestyle factors, and we can help you try to optimize them. But sometimes some things are just,
Right.
out of our hands, and you just do the best you
Right.
can.
Right. You can only do so much, and you can only change so much in your lifestyle depending on what's absolutely necessary in your life or not.
Right.
So, absolutely.
Right. And we can't be
Um,
perfect. Yeah.
so I want to dive into some of kind of what you talked about with doing some of this pre-work, so before you're even trying to conceive,
Yeah.
you know, and going and getting some acupuncture, like what that process even before trying to conceive. What are your thoughts about all of that preparation?
Yeah, I think it's so important. And in Chinese medicine is like the greater theory behind acupuncture. And I tend to just talk about acupuncture, but really it's Chinese medicine, and it's been around for thousands of years. And for thousands of years, they have said that we should ideally take at least 3 months, and longer the better, like up to a year, really. Although you can't really prepare too much, but that preparing for conception is really, really important. And it's neat now when you look at the science of folliculogenesis and spermatogenesis, the process of how eggs follicles develop and how sperm develop, that it does take about 3 months. Yeah. And so what we're doing and eating now, right? So what we're exposed to now is affecting our egg and sperm quality 3 months from now. And what we were doing 3 months ago is affecting our eggs that are going to be ovulated right now, right? So I love that when like the science kind of backs up what they've been saying for thousands of years, which happens a lot. I just think it's amazing with Chinese medicine. But yeah, so we really think that taking that time to prepare is really important. It's hard when someone comes in and is like, I'm getting IVF next week. So do what you can. It's like, well, we can maybe help you get into the parasympathetic state right now and, de-stress right now. But to have really the bigger, really substantial effects from acupuncture, it takes about 3 months. Yeah. And most of the studies done on acupuncture also, most of the research studies do about 12 treatments. 8 to 12 treatments are kind of like what it takes to get a therapeutic dosage. And what I think is neat is in Chinese medicine, there's this concept of what we call Jing, and it's translated to essence. And we have this concept of prenatal Jing, and it is given to us, kind of like endowed to us at the moment of conception from our parents. And our Jing, our essence, is kind of like, we can think of it as our battery reserves, our battery stores for our energy for our whole life, right? And so it's kind of a big deal, right? It's like our vitality, our health, our development, our growth, our own fertility potential. So it's a really big deal, this concept of Jing. And it is endowed to us at the moment of conception. So we want parents, when they conceive, to be at their own optimal health at that moment of conception, right? So that they can really pass on really great Jing or essence to their offspring. And so really we want to take time to, and that's a big deal. It's worth taking the time to prepare in advance to make sure your own nutrient stores are really healthy, your inflammation is low, you are really vital and healthy and can really pass on healthy Jing or essence to your offspring. And waiting till you're pregnant is not as great as preparing in advance so you're healthy at that moment of conception. And there's also some people translate the idea of Jing to like DNA. It's like hereditary. It's hereditary. You're inheriting it from your parents, but it's also more than that. And now there's some science that I think is really neat, showing how preparing is really important. And it comes down to the endometrial glands. So in our uterus, when that fetus implants in our uterus, they're not really like plugged into our blood flow when that placenta is fully developed. They're not getting nutrients from us until towards the end of the first trimester. And that growing baby is actually getting nourishment from our endometrial glands for the first part of pregnancy. So we want there to be great, healthy nutrient stores already stored up in our endometrial glands to fuel that growing baby. And it's like, what if you start eating healthy at the moment of conception? It's almost too late, right? I mean, never too late. It's better late than never, right? But I think it's neat when you look at the science and you're like, yeah, really preparing in advance is really
Right.
important for a lot of reasons.
You're essentially establishing the most healthy environment, uterine environment possible pre-conception so that you're giving your offspring the most success possible.
Exactly. Yeah. In terms of egg quality, in terms of
Uh,
endometrial glands, and sort of in terms of nutrient stores, it takes time to build up nutrient stores, right? Yeah. And
yeah,
I never want to make people feel bad, right? It's like if you didn't take time to prepare, if you like, so many pregnancies are accidental, unplanned pregnancies, and it's like, oh, you know, no, it's not meant to make anyone feel bad. You just do the best you can. And the learning about the endometrial glands made me feel better when I was pregnant, because it's also a reason why in the first trimester, when you're feeling like nauseous and have those food aversions and you're like, I'm sorry, all I can eat is toast, and like, you shouldn't feel bad, because actually your baby is living off of what your nutrients that you've already stored up in the endometrial glands. And so it's kind of lets you off the hook in a way, right? If you've
never
done
thought of
yeah, like if you've done the preparation and you have good nutrient stores, like fine, eat the toast, do whatever you have to do when you're
right.
nauseous and you know just trying to choke down what you can. Yeah, in the first trimester.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I totally remember that. It was
I know.
tough.
Yeah, I usually like try not to eat wheat and processed foods, and I was just like a monster for like
Same.
toast and
I actually, for my daughter, I actually had like the saltine crackers in my work bag while going around different offices. Like,
yeah.
I was just like, I just can't.
I know. Like, when do I ever eat saltines? But you know what? It's totally fine. And babies, those growing babies, we need more carbs, and we
I,
actually become like slightly more insulin sensitive, and we can handle carbs in pregnancy, and it's totally fine. So I like letting people know you're a little bit off the hook. It's fine.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I on people too about those situations. So
Yeah.
good. And so in terms of the like getting ready, the preparing, the all the preconception stuff, are there any other complementary modalities that you like to add in or refer out to? Is there anything you like to, say, hey, you should probably do these too?
Yeah, well, what I do a lot of herbs as well as acupuncture. So I don't do herbs. I don't tend to do a lot of herbs in pregnancy, but in preparation leading up to it. I love herbal formulas and, of course, nutrition. And I love to refer out to PTs. That pelvic floor health is so underappreciated, and I think people tend to go to it too late, once they're peeing when they sneeze. And I think also, people talk about you're the expert in this, but from what I understand, people are always talking about Kegels, 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 but a lot of times people are too tight. And I'm like, I think you should go talk to an expert who can look at you and tell you what the exercises you should be doing. And yeah, so I love referring out to pelvic floor PTs especially. And then also functional medicine practitioners who might be able to do some micronutrient testing. And, sometimes I especially love working with really difficult, challenging fertility cases, people who've tried for years, have recurrent miscarriages or diminished ovarian reserve and are told that they have really low chances. I love those difficult cases. And sometimes I like, referring them, like getting more functional labs looked at to really understand what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, because sometimes that's really getting to the root is really knowing what's happening in the micro macro level. Totally.
Yeah. And we want to give, really individual care for fertility. It's not a one size fits all approach. And that's something that's great about Chinese medicine is we do such thorough questioning and really hone in on someone's specific pattern and kind of root imbalance. But sometimes those more functional labs can help shed light on what someone really needs too. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share? Is there about acupuncture, fertility?
Yeah. I mean, this has been such a fun conversation. Thanks for having me. I guess I just want to like, I want people to know that there is hope. If people have been struggling to conceive, that really addressing fertility holistically is really a great way to go. Even if people are doing IVF in conjunction with IVF, it's not, we work together. It's not like you have to choose one or the other. And I think that a lot of fertility doctors can give statistics that are really discouraging, right? Like I have patients be like, I've been told I have a 7% chance of conceiving. And it's like, how often we see those people go on to conceive, even naturally, right? Without IVF. So I just want people to know that there really is hope, and if they're feeling discouraged, to go seek out, someone like you or me, a holistic practitioner who can really help them look at all those pieces.
Absolutely. I think there's always some form of hope for most women.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I know for myself, like I used a holistic natural when I was having difficulties. I read on your website the same. So there are things that you can do that just are not mainstream. And so you just have to dig and find us.
Totally.
And if you want to learn more about the IVF piece, I did an interview earlier this week. And so if anyone wants to watch that, you can register to watch the entire series at the end of, so register for it. Email will come the end of next week after the whole entire series is over. And so you can watch all of them.
Cool. That's great.
The IVF one, you can sign up for that.
Cool. What a great resource. Yeah, that you've created.
So don't want anyone to miss out on it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to, talk with Katie, I'm sure she'd be totally fine with having you DM her.
Absolutely.
So, she's a resource.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Awesome. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.